So I thought we'd catch up a little bit on all this Charlottesville and this alt-right craziness. Um, so, first of all, I think that I noticed that, like, if you see this Christopher Cantwell thing, the Vice documentary, and then his crying video and stuff, these people think they're not benefiting from the modern liberalism, but they are. You know, the fact that they can go, they're obviously armed and ready, and we're ready to kill people if it takes that. Um, Considering it a win that none of them died, which, as he said, and stuff. You know, and at the same time, he thinks he can go, but I'm just a peaceful protester and free speech. They are benefiting from the extreme tolerance that they're complaining about. And I feel a little bit like the right has been trying to prove, hey, you liberals aren't as tolerant as you say. And I just feel like, okay, you win, you know. I'm not, so I've been feeling very intolerant. I've been trying to work on that. I don't want to rush to the idea of civil war. It hasn't gotten that bad yet. It could get worse, so hopefully it won't get worse. Hopefully today will turn out okay. The protests and counter-protests that are going on. But, you know, just checking in on people. People, you know, there's a lot of these people that are helping the whole alt-right idea, but, you know, their attitude is like, well, I'm not racist, and so therefore there is no problem with racism. And it doesn't really work like that. So, like War Corps or V. V was suggesting maybe that guy that plowed into that crowd, that was self-defense. Maybe. Maybe you got to keep an open mind. It's just an open mind. Or War Corps, like Nazis are wrong, but you SJWs are driving them to it. Again, it's like the tolerance thing. Oh, okay, so we're driving you to become white nationalists. All right. I'm not getting driven to that. Sounds like a problem for you. Um, you know, at the same time, they're complaining. They don't want the government to protect the people's rights. But for somehow, their videos are up on YouTube, but the fact that they're being demonetized is censorship. So if somebody doesn't give you money for saying what you want and storing your videos for free, and if somebody doesn't give you money for that, the free storage, the free platforms are not enough, but you think you deserve money for that necessarily, or else your free speech is going to be violated. I'm just curious who you're going to go to protect that, right? Not the government. You're just going to plead for our sympathy, the sympathy of us cucks that support Sharia law and thinks rape's okay as long as a Muslim does it and all of this stuff. See, I know whether I support Sharia law and stuff. All that bullshit, you and I both know it's lies, right? And there's a little bit of the, well, we're not all like that. It doesn't epitomize the movement. One crazy person drives into people. That's not all of us don't feel the same way. That's kind of bogus because I've been told that I won't disavow feminism or the goals, the broad goals of feminism, that women's rights should be equal to men. And so you blame anyone that claims to be a feminist. I'm responsible for it. Oh, but not you. So you guys invent your, oh, but we're not all that way. Well, they say not everybody's that way. They say, but and you try to make fun of us when we're going, well, hey, not all feminists say all men are rapists. You're like, yeah, but one did, and so you have to speak about it. And then how do they feel? They feel like, well, it's not my responsibility as one crazy person. It's hypocrisy, right? And I don't expect them to be a part of that group and have to speak for the whole group. However, if they're going to come out and go, well, maybe it was self-defense, well, then they did speak on it. And they decided to say, oh, maybe it's self-defense. They decided to apologize and make excuses for it. That's what they did. That's what they're doing. And, you know, I saw this one person, Patriot Nurse, and she's got a couple 100,000 subs, and she's just like, oh, she's not sorry at all. There's going to be a lot of blood before this is over. and we're supposed to just tolerate that. It's kind of like tolerating, you want to talk about rewriting history. Rewriting history is acting like Colonel Lee, because he wasn't a general. That was an illegal army. He was never a general in the U.S. Army. So Lieutenant Lee is not, so-called General Lee, is not a founding father of this nation. That war cost us 600,000 people, and that's as many people as we've lost in all of our other wars put together. And it's a lot when you think about it, that we're spending that many lives on war still. It's the 21st century. It's ridiculous. But those guys were traitors. Their decision to try to defend slavery preemptively cost over 500,000 lives. It's the biggest disaster in this country's history. Those are not our founding fathers. They're nothing like our founding fathers. Likening them to our founding fathers, criticizing the faults of our founding fathers in order to defend people who are responsible for the death of 600,000 Americans, that's not okay. That's the rewriting of history. And I don't know, I think that the alt-right, the broad MRA movement, yeah, if you just, all you want to do is rejoice in pissing us off, then we're going to be pissed off. And then if you're going to rejoice to prove that we're not tolerant because we don't put up with it, okay, you win that part. What now? But I actually don't want to give up my tolerance too quickly, but it's really hard when you see people, when somebody drives into a crowd of people and you see people saying, well, he was driven to it and it was self-defense. Yeah, that's not something I can tolerate. So I think you guys are going to have to come back down to earth. That's what I think is going to have to happen. But if you don't, we got backup plans.